Hi, Debbie. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
So we had a new release,
we
actually, two of
did.
them. Yes. So we had 136 and 137. So 136 was actually in the middle of summer. It was a summer maintenance release. So most of the features we talk here are actually released in 137. So we have quite a bit of agenda. It's very exciting. So let's jump right in to the very first topic, which is Debian 12 support. Debbie, actually, do you know the code name of the Debian 12?
I didn't even know they had code names.
Yeah, so actually, every Debian release has a code name, and Debian 12 has a code name Bookworm.
Ah,
So
that's why I've got the books.
that's why the books emoji, yes. So Debian 12 was released a few months ago, and as of Playwright 137, we now fully support it across all our browsers, which is
Cool.
a nice addition to our, Linux support family. Okay, moving on. Next topic.
UI mode updates. Woohoo! My favorite.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a little demo here, and we've got a basic setup here with our package JSON. We've got a Playwright config, our tests, etc. So just taking a look at the config file, we can see we're importing .env from .env, and then we have a .env.config. And then we are exporting a const of storage state path that's equal to where the Playwright folder is, and then there's an auth folder and a user.json is in there. So now we have two projects. In our first project, it's called setup, and this is using Chrome, and we're matching anything with .setup.ts. Now the second project is called tests, and here we're using Chrome, but we're also using the storage state, which is that same storage state path we have basically set up on line 6. And then this is matching everything that ends in .spec.ts. And here's the cool thing, line 19. It has a dependency on setup, which means every time we run anything in this project, it's going to first run something in the setup project, whatever tests are written in there. So this is great for logins, etc., and things like that. So this is what we have set up. Now let's take a look at our tests. So our first test here is the setup. So we want to set up the test, and we're importing our storage state path from our Playwright config that we just seen. And then our test, we're going to log into Hacker News. So we first go to the URL, and then we await the page, get by role. We're getting a link called login. We're going to click on that. Then we're going to find a form with a filter has text of the username and password login. And then we're going to find the input, and we're going to fill it in with the process.env.username and also the password with the process.env.password. And this is because we don't want to show you our username and password. So we're using .env to hide that as our little secret. And then we're finding that login button, and we're going to click it. So now we have to wait for the login to succeed. So we're going to just get by the role of link with the name process.env.username, which should be the username we use to log in. We expect that to be visible, and then we're going to save that storage state. And we're going to basically say page.context storage state with path of storage state path, which we defined earlier. So that will save it into the storage state, which means every time we run our test, we're going to have that storage, that login saved into storage. So here's our simple test, the a.spec.ts file. We're just making sure everything works. It's really simple. We're going to the URL, and we're expecting the page to have a get by role link with the name of logout to be visible. Now, we can't have a logout visible if we haven't logged in. So basically, we're really just testing our state of the page to be in a logged in state so we can see the logout button. Then some extra cool things here. We're going to basically just console log logging from Node.js, and then we're going to page.evaluate with a JavaScript land. I want to say console log logging from the page, and then we just go to another URL. So that's pretty cool. That's the test. Now let's see it in action in UI mode. So the improvements we've made so far is that now when you go to UI mode, we have our tests and our setup. So we can open the two of those. Now this time when we click the spec.ts file, it's going to run the first the initial setup. Look, you see that running there? It's running that setup. It's logging into Hacker News. And once it's finished doing that, then it's going to go and show us that that's basically a logout, a login, a logout button, or logout text is visible on the page, which we can see there. So that's cool. So basically, you just have to run that once, and it's going to run that setup. But now maybe you don't want that to run it all the time, right? Because that's kind of a bit slow, we're waiting, and we have stuff saved to storage state. So now we can just go to our menu, and we can uncheck the setup. So we don't want to run that anymore. We don't need to run it anymore, because now if we press play, it's going to work because it saved that login to the storage state. So now, bang, much better developer experience, much faster, and that's pretty cool. What do you think, Lucia?
This is awesome. And this is actually the first feature, because before you had to manually run the setup, right?
Yeah, it was really sad. Now it's just really cool. Now, remember my test that had some console logs? Well, now we go to the console tab. You're going to see those console logs. Look, logging from Node.js, logging from the page. So this is really cool because you've accessed these console logs, which we didn't have before. And it's much more easier for debugging in case you need to. That was number 2. Now, number 3 is a little bit tied in with number 2, but it's 2 things. It's the console and the network tab. So now in the console and the network tab, you're going to see everything. Instead of like before it was per step, now you're going to see all the network requests for this whole test, which you might say, oh, but that's a lot. But don't worry, because you can still click on the step and it will highlight the network request for that specific test. So you can still easily see what belongs to which, etc. But it just makes it easier to kind of like, be able to see everything all at once, see all those logs, rather than have to kind of click each step to find that log. So that's the update number 3. What do you think?
This is awesome. Thank you, Debbie. This is a great demo.
And don't forget, this will also work with Trace Viewer. So if you are using VS Code and you do show Trace Viewer, or on CI as well with the Trace Viewer, right? Which means, you might not want console logs in CI in production, but maybe you do. Who knows?
It sometimes happens, yeah. So let me recap. So we had 3 things in UI mode. The first one is the project dependency support. Now you don't have to run them manually. Second one is the Node.js logs in the console tab. Very handy for debugging. And the last one is the console and network tab redesign that shows you basically all the information across the test with highlight per step. Awesome. Moving on. We have one more demo. And this is a new CLI tool called Merge Reports. So, Debbie, I have a test here. Can you help me understand what's going on in this test?
Okay, so we have a test, and which is on line 5. It's a simple test awaiting a URL, and the response is to be 200. And then we're basically just wrapping this in a for loop so that our test is not one test, but 100 tests.
Okay, yes. So let me actually go ahead and run this test. So I can run this with npx test. It will go ahead and run these tests. So it's 100 tests. So it takes a while.
Ooh, this is really slow.
Yeah, so why is it so?
No,
so what's wrong?
But you're only using one worker, and Playwright is like fully parallel by default, so there should be more than one worker. What have you done? Have you broken it?
Could be. What do I do?
In the config file, check your config and make sure you have fully parallel true.
Okay, so I actually rigged this. Yes.
Me.
Yeah, so this is a tricky question for you. Indeed. So we had fully parallel on by default in our configs, but I disabled it. So now if I were to run these tests one more time,
it's going to be much faster.
Yeah, I have to save though.
You have to save it, yeah. And then you'll see more workers. Look at that, 5 workers.
Yeah, 5
That's
workers.
What we want.
Yes. So now it will take less than 10 seconds probably to run all of these tests. Yeah,
much
8 seconds. Yeah, it used to be 30. Pretty good. But how do I make it even faster?
Oh, more machines.
More machines, yes. So I need horizontal sharding. And we have this shard argument, right? So I can get all these 100 tests and split them into chunks for 10 tests, for example, 10 chunks, 10 tests each, and run them separately on separate machines. Right? So it's first chunk, the other chunk another 10 tests, and so on.
Yeah.
And this will make it much faster. However, locally I have only one machine. But you know what? I have many of them on my GitHub. So,
of course you do.
yeah, so let me actually make sure that I run this in parallel, or actually sharded across multiple machines on GitHub Actions. So right here, this is playwright.dev website, and I can go here and just search for sharding. And on the right, we have this really handy GitHub Actions example that gives me a workflow. I just need to copy this strategy
and add to the
paste
default YAML that we have. Lovely.
Yeah. And let's actually have, no, I want to have 5 shards at least.
Cool.
And I need to run tests with shard, the one from the matrix, right?
Okay.
So let's commit all of this. Okay, so let's see if it actually pushed. Okay, yeah, so I have this commit add sharding.
Nice.
So it now created 5 jobs for me.
Cool.
Let's actually see. And I would expect them to all turn green. And each of them actually has to run just, how many? 20 tests, right?
Yeah. So each of them are installing the Playwright browsers and then running the Playwright tests.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we have 2 green. And now you can see how it's running in parallel, right? They're running like not in order.
Yeah, not in order. So this is 20 tests. These are another 20 tests, and so on. Okay. This is pretty cool. I have my green check marks.
But this is nothing new, right?
This is nothing new though. And this is actually cool, but it has one issue I don't like. And the issue is when I run this on a shard, it gives me this beautiful HTML report.
Yeah.
But the HTML report only has 10 tests here. Like, where are my 100 tests, right? These are just some.
You're not getting them all in the same report.
Yeah. So how do I get them all in a single HTML report?
Boof, you gotta like open each one of them and copy and paste or something.
Yeah, so this was before this 1.37 release. With this release, though, we introduced a new command line tool, which is called merge reports, which is designed to solve this problem once and forever.
And merge the reports.
Yes, so actually, let me show you how it works.
Cool.
So to use merge reports, you need to do 3 steps. So first step would be to go to Playwright config and use the new blob reporter on CI.
Okay.
So this blob reporter actually saves all the details about your test run into a new zip file. Let me show you. So let me pretend I'm on CI. So
okay,
I can say
CI equals 1.
Cool. Yeah. And I can say shard 1 out of 10. So this will run 10 tests on my CI. Yeah. And then right here, I'm getting a new folder called blob report. Inside this blob report, I have this report 1, the first shard.zip.
Which is basically your HTML report.
It's not HTML report. This is a new blob report.
It's a blob report. Okay.
It's a blob report. Okay. Yes. So second step. Now we will need to get this report and copy it to a single shared location, the location which is shared across all your horizontal machines. So let's say I have this folder called all blob reports. I'll just copy everything from blob report to all blob reports. Okay, and the same thing is actually happening on all machines, right? So I have machine that is running second shard. It runs all the 10 tests. It creates a report 02, another one right here. And I need to copy, and it will copy the second
Yeah.
report to the shared location, and so on. So we have many machines. They will do all the same thing, but in parallel. Here I'm doing one by one. I'm just a mere human. But let's kind of pretend that it all completed. Now the last and the third step that we actually need to do is to run the npx playwright merge reports, and I need to pass tell it which report I want to use. I want to generate a HTML report and give it a path to all the reports.
Okay.
So here it is. It extracted everything from all of these blob reports, and it gave me an HTML report to run.
And now we should see
And
30 tests.
here I am. I have 30
Look
tests.
at that. Nice.
And I can actually search across them.
That's really cool. But that's just locally, right? Does that not work on CI?
Yes, but turns out it's really easy to do the same thing on CI. Let me show you how. So let's go back to our YAML file and back to our documentation. So right here in the very end, we can just go ahead and upload our blob report to this folder, the one we will use for everything. So let me actually go to the very end and upload it to a central location. After that, we just need to add a new job. I'll copy it and I'll narrate it real quickly. It does look like it has many lines, but it's nothing smart. So this is a new job called merge reports. It will always run, and it will run once all the tests are actually completed across all shards. It will run on Ubuntu, check out stuff, set up node, install all the dependencies. And now the interesting bits. First, it will download all the blob reports.
Cool.
And then it will run this command that we were running locally. We'll just merge reports, creating an HTML report out of all the downloaded blob reports. And last but not least, we will just upload this HTML to the GitHub artifacts.
So all that manual work you did, it's going to just do it for you.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So let's actually commit this and sync it upstream. And let's see how it actually works. So we now need to have another new commit.
Okay.
So this is a great chart. So we have 5 shards and we have merge reports that runs after all of these shards. So once the shards complete, we will see the
green dot here or something.
Yeah. While it's doing this, I want to show you how we actually use this CLI tool in a more advanced infrastructure. Okay. So we actually use this on Microsoft Playwright in our main repository. And in each pull request, this is just an example of some pull requests we have opened right now. We have this bot that actually, for all of the checks, we have how many? 26 checks, 28 checks. It gets all the results and merges them together and publishes a single comment telling us what's failed and what's flaky and how many passed. Wow. And gives us a link that we can actually go ahead and navigate to. And this will download a single HTML report with all 25,000 tests. Wow. And I can click and explore, like these 2 tests failed on this particular pull request. So I can go ahead and see what's wrong and what's broken. That's or really I can, cool. Go ahead and search for some tests and analyze them.
We have a lot of tests.
Yeah, 25,000 is no joke. Okay, back to our demo repository.
Ooh, look at that green check mark.
Green check marks everywhere. And here we have this HTML report. Let's make sure it's a proper one. We can download it. I got it downloaded. And open. And here I am. I have 100 tests.
Very cool.
Congrats. And I can go and search and see what's going on in each of them.
Nice. This is cool. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And this works on any CI, I guess? You just have
works
to
on
configure
any
it differently.
CI. Yes, on absolutely any of them.
Cool.
So to recap, to use blob merge reports tool, you need to do 3 things. So the first one is to enable blob reporter. The second one is to actually put all the blob reports into a single shared location. And last but not least, download all of these blob reports and then actually use the merge reports tool to generate any report you like. You can generate a dot, line, or your custom report using this blob reporter.
Very cool. I like it.
Okay, so summary. We now have Debian 12 support. You have a bunch of nice and fancy updates for the UI mode. And last but not least, we have a new merge reports command line tool that makes your life with shards way easier.
So basically update directly to 1.37.
Yes. Okay, so this is it. If you like what we do, please give us a like on GitHub, join our Discord, Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube.
Cool.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you. See you all.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.